Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. How are you guys? Afro Kenya is back. You're getting Afro Kenya all week. We have an end of the month reading vlog, last day of the month. I am going to take on 3 books, but as you can see, this is a lot of pages. This is a lot of pages to get done in about a week and a half, but I am excited. I think I'm going to enjoy these books. I have no clue what these books are actually about, but I'm excited to get into them. We can just talk about them. And yeah, the first book we're going to read is Jiyoung, born 1982 by Cho Namju. I have heard so many things about this book. I don't know what this book is about, but this book, when it came out, everyone loved it. I got my hands on it, and now it's time for me to read it. I'm really excited. It's a short one. We might start on this one first in the video. The next book we have is a book I think I'm going to take on via audio and physically, just depending on what I'm doing. I did get the audio book from Libby for free, so I do have the audiobook in my arsenal. We'll see how that goes, but I would like to read some of it physically because I like the way the book feels. It's like a floppy book, and so we'll see. But we are going to be reading The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This was a Booker Prize finalist. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, but I've also heard some bad things about this book. Like, a lot of people end up reading all of these pages and get to the end, they're just like, what did I do this for? So I'm excited to see how it's going to go. And the last book is the most ambitious book that I am going to read. I do not have this on audio. I will be physically reading this honker of a book. And it is by Maggie O'Farrell. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize last year, The Marriage Portrait. I'm excited. It's a long one, but I want to dig into something longer because we're only going to read 3 books in this video, and this one is short, and I have this one on audio, so I feel like I can take on a bigger one. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys when I decide, I get my flow of what we're going to read first, how we're going to do it. But yeah, I just want to intro the vlog, and I will see you guys a little bit later. Peace. Good morning, you guys. Ignore the fact that my hair looks the way it is. I'm waiting for my afro to afro. I just took it out of its banded scrunchies, and so I just have to wait throughout the day for it to get bigger. But that's fine because I'm actually going on a road trip to visit my grandma, so I have about a 5-hour drive ahead of me, so I had time for my afro to get big. But I wanted to come and discuss with you guys Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead because I have made it to page 193, and I plan on reading the audiobook during my drive. I won't listen to it the whole 5 hours, but I'm gonna try to make a good dent in it, when I feel like it. So I describe these types of books as like personal epics, where like they're not actually epics just by the nature of what an epic is, but they, I think, are considered like modern epics, like contemporary epics, where you're just following someone's life or people's lives throughout a really long time, and you're getting great detail about every detail of their life. That's what this book is. So in this book, we are following two timelines. We are following a historical timeline where there is this woman who went missing when she was trying to do this great like journey on an airplane. She wanted to be like one of like the greatest women pilots, and so she did this really big journey on an airplane, and she got lost. They never found her. So we're pretty much reading her like biography, her autobiography, and what happened to her. So this is some details about her. She was raised by her uncle. Her parents died. And she's raised by her uncle. She had to do some strange things for change in order to get the money to learn how to be a pilot. And that's just where I'm at with her life, raised by her uncle. Her uncle's a drunkard. He spends all their money and he sucks. She has a brother who she adores, and that's their upbringing. Then you have this other timeline which takes place in present day. And we are following this defamed actress. This actress is famous for doing like movies like Twilight. And so like they're kind of lowbrow, but they have a lot of fans. And she's kind of over it. She doesn't want to do it anymore. She was dating the guy who was in the movie. They broke up. And so the final nail in her coffin was she had a sex tape get released. And so she got fired from everything. And so she's trying to figure out what she's going to do. Some backstory on her. She was a child actress. Both of her parents died in an airplane crash. Both of her parents died in an airplane crash. So she was raised by her uncle as well, orphaned. And basically she ended up going to NYU. And now she has about $30 million in her bank account. And now she ain't got no job. Well, our two stories are coming together because our actress has decided she is going to play our pilot girl in the past in a biopic. This unofficial autobiography is being made into a movie, and she's going to play her because she has nothing else to do. Do a little indie because your career down bad. And that's what's pretty much going on. Thoughts so far. I think I'll have to think about it more, but I think I have a deep affection for books that give you details on shit you never wanted details on. Books that get into the weeds about something you never wanted to be in the weeds about. And that's this book with airplanes. Do not have a curiosity about airplanes. I simply do not. Definitely not like the one pilot airplane, the little small little airplanes. Never cared. But this book is giving me details, and it's like, I kind of care. I kind of care. Like, this is kind of interesting. So I really enjoy that. I enjoy when a book is like that. But back to me saying this book is an epic. This book has so much detail, and there's 100% a simpler way to tell this story. Like, I can tell from the synopsis where this book is going to go, because I'm not even done with the synopsis part of the book. I haven't even made it to the end of the synopsis in my reading, and I'm on page 193. This book just has a lot of detail, and it's like, I'm unemployed, so like, I don't mind, but I just cannot imagine someone who kind of just reads, here or there, picking this book up. This book would take you forever to finish, and I think it would kind of be hard for you to stay invested because the amount of detail. And like, it's not that it's not interesting, it's just detail heavy, and it's a long book. And I don't know if all the details are necessary. So that's my thoughts so far. I'm going to come back again after I listen to some in the car, and then I'll come back with final thoughts. I have to get ready. I'm gonna show you guys my road trip snacks. Just wait. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. Would you guys like to see all of the snacks that I got for my trip? So first things first is breakfast. I made some biscuits. I put those in the oven and made those. I'm gonna have a banana with my coffee, and that's gonna be breakfast. And then I got me some apples. I really hope you guys don't fall. I cut me up some apples. Yes, I did. The most unserious thing is this can of pears. Okay, whatever you say. And then I got some muffins, some blueberry muffins and chocolate chip cookies for when I get a sweet tooth on the road. Here is the thing. I am a firm believer in not stopping. The only time I stop is if literally my bladder is going to explode and I need to use the bathroom. But that boy, I really have to use the bathroom if I do that. So yeah, what else? And then last but of course not least, applesauce, Publix brand to be exact. This is like when I'm like mindlessly just sitting here and I just want something in my mouth, and it's just like, you know what, applesauce will really scratch that itch. But anyways, I'm about to click play on the audiobook. I can put this in the glove compartment too. Get some of my snacks off my seat. And I'm gonna have breakfast finally. It's kind of early. I don't usually ever eat breakfast this early, so I'm not that hungry, but I should. So I'm gonna eat maybe 2 of my biscuits and my coffee. But yeah, I don't like to stop for food. I got snacks in the house, so that's what I'm gonna do. And yes, once I read for about 2 hours, I will come give you guys an update when I make it to my destination, okay? You guys, it is the morning, and I am here to come talk to you guys about Maggie Shipstead's The Great Circle. I am on the home stretch of this. I have about 150 pages left to go, and because this book is so long, I wanted to give middle of the way thoughts. I told you guys this book is kind of like an epic. We're just getting this long, drawn-out journey about this woman. So I told you this woman was a pilot. And, you know, she went missing. She crashed her plane. No one knows where she went, all of that stuff. The thing about this book is dual POVs. And we are following the pilot and everything going on with her life. And we're getting great detail. So, like, there's times where, like, we'll follow what her brother is doing. We meet so many characters in the past timeline about this pilot and what she's doing. And there's so many details. It's broken off at times and giving us political, you know, storylines. Well, like, things about like the politics about Hitler, about World War II, and all that stuff. So we're getting so much information in that timeline. But then we get the other timeline, which is about this actress, and she's playing our girl in a biopic, and she's just not interesting. I'm just gonna say it. Like, she just doesn't have anything interesting to say. Like, all of the stuff that's going on in her life is pretty much regular, like, I'm an actress in Hollywood type of stuff. Like, ooh, she don't got no job. Ooh, she's sleeping with other people's husbands. What's gonna happen with her career? Like, she's like troubled actress. And like, we've seen this before in so many books. And I'm just like, what makes her more interesting than anyone else we see? Like, her POV pales in comparison. And so it just, whenever we go back to her, it just kind of feels like everything that's being put into the main storyline, the main POV about the pilot, is for none, because the weak storyline just is there. And I think it's gonna be there for a reason. Like, in the last half of the book, she's gonna become like a big part of the book, and you know how the book wraps up. But she's just unimportant. And you kind of leave a really good book to go read a middle of the way book, if that. Like, it's not even interesting at all. Like, I'm trying to think, is it even kind of interesting? You want to know, her parents are missing. They've never been able to recover her parents' body. What if her parents are alive? What if that's like the big, like, I would, like, that's so corny. Like, it would be shocking because it's corny, but what if she is alive? They are alive. I don't know. But that's pretty much my middle of the way thoughts. Hello, you guys. I am finally here to give you my final thoughts on The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This book could have been so good, but the last 100 pages of this book is not good. Like, it's absolute trash. Like, this book just falls apart, honestly, to me. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars because it's such a long book, and it was enjoyable. I did enjoy reading this book. It's just like when it came to wrapping up this book, everything just ended so, like, conveniently. Everything just ended so, it tried to be unpredictable, and so it was predictable, and it just wasn't interesting. Remember how I was saying there's dual POVs in this book? The POV with the person in modern day is absolutely useless. I have no clue. I know why the POV is in there. The POV is in there so we can find out some information about our girl. That's the only reason why the POV is there. There's nothing of substance going on in that POV. That character is not interesting at all. That character is just there so she can give us a bit of information in the last 100 pages. That is it. They tried to kind of use her as some, like, detective in the end, and it's like, y'all just made that shit up. It was never given detective for these first 300 pages. Now she's a sleuth all of a sudden. It just didn't work, but that doesn't change the fact that if you do read this book, I would recommend reading it on audio. And it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. You do get to hear the sprawling tale about this woman pilot and everything that goes on in her life. And the characters are really, really interesting. It's just like the book just decided to become unserious. The book just decided it was time to become unserious. It's not surprising to me. This is a Booker Prize finalist. This is the exact shit the Booker Prize likes to, give awards to. That's another thing. This is like pachinko coded to me. This book is written just to win awards. Like, there are just certain books that I just believe are made to win awards. It's gonna get a Booker. It's gonna get a book award. It's gonna get a Pulitzer. That is just what it is made to do. And that's this book is long for the sake of being long. It's drawn out for the sake of being drawn out. And I do not think it actually needs to be. Before the ending, I was already gonna give this book 4 stars because I don't think this book needs to be as long as it is. Like, it just feels like the author was just adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff just because they could, just because Maggie Shipstead is a perfectly competent writer, and you're here, so you might as well stay here. But I do not think this all comes together as a really good book. I think it's a fine book. At moments, it's a good book, but I don't think this book ever really got to its fullest potential. I actually think doing this book dual POV took away from this book being able to be brilliant. I think if we were just following the pilot throughout her entire life, think Demon Copperhead, this would have been brilliant in that way. Just getting in the weeds about this person's life and, them reaching a certain fate. I would have liked it more than I just think the modern day storyline is just a bit silly. Anyways, we are going to move on to our next book. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, so overall, 3 out of 5 stars. Maybe when I think about it in the morning, I might move it up to 3.5 if I get the taste out of my mouth of the ending. The ending was just silly. It was just silly. It was just okay, it just wasn't. Usually in books that are this big and this long, the endings usually I'm just okay. But the ending of this, I was just that's all you got, You took me on this, 591, you took me on this 600-page journey, and this was the best you had for me? I don't know about this one, friends. Yeah, you probably can skip this one. I did the heavy lifting for you. You don't gotta go get this one. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace. guys, how about we just ignore the way I look right now and let me show you the discount books that I bought yesterday. Boom. I love going bargain shopping because bargain shopping to me is such low stakes. Like, you get the books $5, $6, $7. I never really pick up anything I've never heard about when I'm bargain shopping. That's a rarity, but this is my time to get books that I probably was never going to read, but like a little part of me wanted to read. Like, there was curiosity in me. And so I pick up the books on discount. A lot of times, especially nowadays, I'm doing my thrillers this way. I don't really buy new thrillers. Like, you guys don't really ever see me do like new thriller videos. New thrillers rarely make it into my vlogs. And that is because either I get them from the library, and usually when they first come out, they have a little bit of a hold. The housewives love to get them a good thriller, so I have to wait a while, wait for the hype to die down. So I have to wait a while, and I just don't buy them. I wait for them to go on discount. But I say all that to say I didn't even buy no thrillers in this. So let me show you the first book that I got, which I really feel like was a win. It is called The Chosen One by Echo Brown. Do you guys remember last month I loved Black Girl Unlimited? And I didn't look up if Echo Brown had any more books, but I found this for $5, and I was just like, this is such a freaking win, because I didn't even know this book existed, and then I just read a book from this author that I loved, and yeah, so I picked up that. Then the next book, this is the sketchiest of my, and I guess this would be considered a mystery thriller suspense, I don't know. I picked up The Maidens. I own The Silent Patient by Alex McKellitz. I own The Silent Patient. I haven't read The Silent Patient because my man read The Silent Patient and he was kind of middle of the way about it. Most people whose thriller taste that I respect are also middle of the way about it. And then I think I know the plot twist. I just think I know exactly what the plot twist is. So it's actually a book I might even unhaul because I just don't think it serves any purpose to me right now. But I did pick up The Maidens because this is a book that either people like or people don't like, and maybe I'll be the person who likes it. Sorry, you guys, it was on discount, like, and it was hardcover. I had to get it. Like, it was just calling my name. Sometimes when in the bargain section, there's just books that were popular at a certain time, and you just like, I gotta get my hands on it. Ignore my hair, by the way. Like, I literally just woke up. Ignore my hair. And my hair been looking like this the whole time. The next book was a win because I was going to buy this book on my own, because this is one of those books that, like, I was like, why do I not own this book? I kept convincing myself that I did own this book, and I didn't. And so, like, I'm like, when am I going to get my hands on this book? An American Marriage. This book is a Kenya book, and I just never owned it. It's one of those books I've almost convinced myself that I own, so I never buy it. But I was just like, Ken, you do not own. And then for some reason, I get this cover mixed up with Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. And so I'm just like, I own Miracle Creek. So I just always thought I've owned this book, but I know I don't own this book. And I keep saying, okay, I'm going to get my hands on it. I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to go purchase it. And finally, God said, Kenya, here, shit, get the book. And so, like, finally, I have it. I do want to read this book this year. This is the number one. Kenya will read this book this year. I'm also not really hard on myself about when I read bargain books. New books that I purchase at full price, I need to read in the year that I buy them. But bargain books, who cares? This is the most, like, Kenya, why did you buy this book? But also, I was always going to buy this book. The Loop. This book is 100% going to sit on my bookshelf for a year. I don't know why I bought this book. This book had its time. People were reading it. It's blurbed by the people you expect to blurb this type of book. Let me tell you who blurbed it, and you know exactly what this book. You have Paul Tremblay. You have Stephen Graham Jones. And then you have Chuck Palahniuk, whatever, the dude who wrote Fight Club. The three of them blurbed this book, so you already know what time it is. You're either going to get the best book you ever read or the worst book you ever read. There's no in between when these three motherfuckers show up on the front of a book. So we'll see, but I've always wanted to read this book, and I never did. Heard mixed reviews on it, but you know what? It was here, it was cheap, and I said, give it to me. And that's what I bought at the bookstore. Anyways, we'll get into the next book. Peace. Hello, you guys. I am sitting here and I am I'm about to complete, you can't even see the book. I'm about to complete Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, by Cho Nam Jo. But I need to come and give you my initial thoughts on this book. So in this book, we are in Korea and we are in modern day, and we are meeting this woman named Kim Jiyoung. And basically, Kim has a daughter, she has a husband, they live in an apartment together, and things are not going great. Things are way more chaotic than they should be. We meet Kim, and she's kind of taking on different personalities. First of all, she sucks her thumb. She sleeps with her next to her daughter and sucks her thumb. She emulates a lot of her daughter's, mannerisms. She also pretends like she's other people that she knows, and her husband kind of lets her have it, but he thinks that it's weird, and so he's trying to get to the root of it because she is acting like nothing's the problem. So he's trying to figure out why she acts this way. She's in therapy, and so that's how we meet her. We're kind of just dropped into this story. So narrative-wise, we go back in time. And we meet Kim. We get stories about her growing up, from being in elementary school, middle school, high school. We're at college, where I am, and you're just getting to know her. So that's kind of the synopsis, getting to know this girl. So what's really going on here is us getting this story about this woman growing up in a patriarchal society and dealing with misogyny. Her being a Korean woman and her not being valued. She is the second daughter of 3 siblings. She has a younger brother and older sister. She's the middle child. And the son is already treated better than her. We get a little story about her mother having an abortion. Her mother having an abortion, finding out that she was having another daughter. And so that's basically how the story is going. You're just getting little stories about Kim's life. This is working for me because this book is so short. This book is about 160 pages. And so because it's so short, I'm able to get on board with it. I will say this book isn't saying anything necessarily amazing. We know that misogyny exists. We know that women have a really hard time in all places, but they especially have a hard time in Korea, and there have been laws put in place to help that, but it doesn't always work. So this book was nominated for the National Book Award, and I'm just okay, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that strongly on this book. I don't think it's doing anything amazing, but what this book is doing really, really well is the finesse that goes into this book. This book being so short, brevity is the companion of wit, I believe. And if you are witty, you are able to say what you want to say in a very brief, concise way, and that's what this book is doing. This book at its best is when we're getting stories about Kim's life that just paint an overall picture. For example, there's a story about her being on the bus. She's on the bus because she takes the bus home, and this guy is being really weird, and she can already tell that this guy is going to try to assault her. So she calls her dad to come protect her. Her dad doesn't pick up the phone, so she gets off the bus, and the man gets off the bus with her, and he's about to assault her. And this lady gets off the bus too and is like, you forgot your scarf. She didn't actually forget her scarf. The lady on the bus also thought something was going to happen to her. And it's just this story that says so much. It's such a short story, but it says so much about the condition of being a woman. And so this book is the best when it tells a little story about Kim life and you're able to relate it to a bigger thing. The book is not as clever when it's obviously telling you, it's telling you a message, but you know the message. Like it's acting like it's explaining something to you, but it's not. Like you already know this. That's when it becomes less clever. But overall, I am enjoying this book. I think we're shaping up for a 4-star read here. You know, we could go as big as 4.5, I think, because I am really enjoying this. So anyways, I am about to sit here and I am about to finish this book, and I will talk to you guys when I do finish it. That might mean I talk to you guys in the morning. I do not know, but I will talk to you guys when I finish it. Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to give my final thoughts on Kim Jiyoung, born 1982. I'm gonna go ahead and give this book 4 out of 5 stars. This book works. I think the most impressive thing about this book is that this book is able to get its message across really, really well. Yes, it's a simple message, misogyny, patriarchy, but it's highlighting the specific type of misogyny and patriarchy that women go through in Korea due to having children, and this almost psychosis that it puts you into. And I just think that it does everything well. Is it my favorite book of all time? No. Is it my favorite book of this year? No. But like, it works. It works. It's 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really easy read, and like nothing, it uses its page count basically. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and I just think that's a lesson in good storytelling, good writing. I like this book. I really, really did. There were some stories in here or some things that Kim was going through that was just really, I think a lot of people should read this book. You want to know what is clever about this book? This book shows you the trappings of life. How when you start saying yes to too many things, you start leading a life that you don't want to live. And I think this makes you look at your life and make sure you're making the decisions that are best for you. And I like that. Anyway, so 4 out of 5 stars. Next book we are going to move on to is The Marriage Portrait. Tomorrow when I discuss this, we have to come up with a game plan. We truly do. So I'm going to get some good sleep tonight, and we have to come up with a game plan for this book tomorrow, okay? Peace. Good morning, you guys. I told you guys we was going to have a discourse. We was going to have a conversation. So my stupid ass thought April had 31 days. I thought April had 31 days. So I came up with this idea. I was going to take on the longest book, well, physically, the longest book in this video, because you got to remember The Great Circle, I read mostly on audio. So I was like, I'm going to take this on physically, and I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're watching this vlog on a Wednesday to put this up. So I thought you would be watching this vlog on Wednesday. This vlog is due Tuesday. I like to put up a vlog the last day of the month. So this vlog is due. The problem is, I thought I would have 3 days to read a book that's 500 pages long. I'm not a long book girl. Some people can eat through a long book. It's not me. I am a 375 page at most girl. So I was just like, I'll split it up to 150 pages, 160 pages a day, and I'll finish. That can't happen because we don't have time. So I have to split this up into just half and half. I have to read it half and half. So I'm going to be reading all day. Today is a Kenya reads half of this book all day. But you want to know what? Readers read. Readers read. This is what we do the sport for. We play the sport for these moments. Those days when you read a book in an entire day, that's the sport. When you tell people you're a reader, you do it for this. These are the moments you tell people. I read a 500-page book in 2 days. And 2 days, and still had other shit to do in my life. I still got other stuff to do in my life. I still got to work. I still got to talk to people. I still got to go places. But I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to finish this book. So I am starting now. I am going to start with 2 40-minute sprints. I'm going to do 2 40-minute sprints. And hopefully that can get me to page 100 in like 40 minutes is 80. Hopefully that can get me to page 100. I'm not a fast reader. That's another thing. I'm not a fast reader. But yeah, I'm going to eat me a banana. I'm already in my coffee. and I'm about to go read. So that's what's going on. I will come and update you guys when I feel it's necessary. I also don't know what this book is about. So like if this book is bad, holy hell. But I'm gonna go into it. We are going to read The Marriage Portrait. Okay? Peace by Maggie O'Farrell. Okay? Talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here. You guys know we are marathoning to the finish, and I have made it 100 pages in. I'm so proud of myself. We're at midday. Well, keep in mind, I had a full morning. I did stuff this morning. I worked out this morning. I worked a little this morning, but I still have a lot of day left to go, and I've made it to page 100. So I feel good. I feel like definitely by the end of today, we can get to the halfway point. Let's see if we can get further. But let me tell you what this book is about. So when we start this book, we get this quick little historical note. We get this quick little historical note where we are told about Lucrezia. Lucrezia is a 15-year-old girl, and she is going to die. She is going to die, and her husband is going to tell everyone that she died because she got sick. She got a terrible fever, and that is the story. But Lucrezia believes that her husband killed her. Her husband is the reason why she's dead. And that starts our story, because immediately when we get into the story, we are in the 1560s, and we are following Lucrezia as she is going on a journey with her husband. We are in Lucrezia's head, and she is telling us that she thinks her husband is going to kill her. She was like, he's taking me on this journey to kill me. He is walking me to my death. They're on horseback. And she's like, I need to find a way to escape, and I need to find a way to get out of here. So because we are dropped into the story, like I told you guys about the Heaven and Earth grocery store and a lot of other literary fiction books, they start you in the middle of the book and then they zoom out and show you the bigger world. That's just kind of the era we are in literary fiction, where like there's a main story and then you get a bigger story that adds to that main story and makes that main story richer once you get the full scope of what you're dealing with. So we go back in time to when Lucrezia was born, and we get to meet her family. Her family is in Florence. They are dukes and duchesses. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of servants. And she, I think, is the fifth child. Don't fully remember, but she is the wild child. She is the wild child. She doesn't like to do all the stuff people expect her to do. She cried the entire time when she was a baby and a toddler. She was just defiant. Wouldn't get no sleep. And the mother blamed herself for that, because the mother says when she was conceived, she was thinking of all types of terrible things, or thinking of things she shouldn't have been thinking. And that's why her daughter is bad, because none of the other children are bad like her. But we're just getting to know Lucrezia and how basically her life came to be. We get to know her father. Her father had this obsession with wild animals, like big animals, gorillas, bears, tigers, lioness, all of that. So he brought the first tiger to Florence. He got some tigers, brought them to Florence, and he kept them in their palazzo. And our main character, Lucrezia, I'm sure I'm butchering her name, she was obsessed with these animals and wanting to see these animals. But there was an animal in specific, this tiger. Her father brought a tiger home, and she just always wanted to see this tiger. She used to draw pictures of the tiger. She was obsessed with this tiger. And one day, her dad took her down into the palazzo and let her see the animals. But the tiger wouldn't come out for anyone. The tiger wouldn't come out. They didn't get to see the tiger. They got to see everything else, the gorillas, the bears, the lions, but didn't get to see the tiger. So Lucrezia was still by the cage, and the tiger was hiding in the dark, and Lucrezia just wanted to see it. And so she gets to talking, and she gets to thinking about the tiger, and she sticks her hand into the gates, into the cage, and the tiger comes out. And she has this really soft moment with this tiger. She's able to pet the tiger, and the tiger really seems to take a liking to her. But when everyone sees that her hand is in the tiger cage, oh, they go ballistic. They drag her out of there like, you could have died. And so she never gets to see the tiger again. Next time she hears about the tiger has been killed. And so this moment has kind of stuck with her all of her life. And so she just has this connection to this tiger. But other stuff is going on. We have to get how she met the husband. Stuff's going on in her family. And that's pretty much where we are on page 100. Love it. Love it. Love it. This is literary fiction at its finest. The reason why it was so easy for me to read 100 pages, because this is some of the best 100 pages I have read this year. The writing is so sharp. Everything is so intentional. The characters are so good. I love this. This is one of those stories, like I was telling you about The Great Circle, where it's long and drawn out, and you get so much detail, and you're learning about this family. But this is just 10 times more interesting than The Great Circle. Oh my gosh. Just hearing about how these people are interacting with each other. The dialogue is so good. People's intentions are so, getting in the mind of what people's intentions are. It's just so good. It's just so good. So off that, this is working for me all the way. The strongest thing about this is the writing. It's beautifully written, but also easy to follow. And I just wasn't expecting this book to be not as straightforward, because this book is playing with different types of stuff. It's not just, cut and dry. It's doing things well, and it has substance to it, but complexity is the word I'm looking for. It has complexity to it, but at the same time, it's a pretty straightforward narrative. You have dual POVs. You're going back in time, learning this woman's history, and not dual POVs, you have dual timelines. You're going back in time, learning this woman's history, but you're also getting to know why this woman thinks she's going to die. It's just so good. It's just so damn good. So I cannot wait to get back into this. I'm going to take a little break, and then I'm going to come back. And yeah, I'm going to try to read to page 250 today. If I can do that, we're a success. But yeah, that's kind of just what's going on. In the next clip, I'll just tell you how far we've gotten in this, but I won't give you a lot of details on what's going on, because now we're in the thick of the story. We're in the thick of the story, and I'm already... it is the final day. Last night, I made it to page 216. So 216 is how many pages I read yesterday. I'm about to sit here and I'm going to I'm going to get to page 300 in this sitting. Then later on, I'm going to finish it. So I'm going to try to do this whole book in 2 more sittings. Then I'm going to wash my hair. So 100 right now, wash my hair, and then finish it, and then come with final thoughts. That is the thing. I'll probably come to you with final thoughts. So I'm going to read this, and then the next time you guys see me, I will be giving you guys final thoughts on this book, and we will wrap it up. I am going to finish it. I don't care if this vlog goes up in the dead of night. I'm going to finish this book today if it kills me. So I am going to finish it. It was all about getting to the halfway point yesterday with other stuff to do. You know, I just can't sit and read a book all day. I got other stuff to do. But I did get to where I want to get, and I am very much so still enjoying this book, by the way. Just thoughts, book still just as good as before. Let's hope. I have a feeling this book is going to go a certain way, and I'm curious if it does, how it's going to be handled. But this book has an air of mystery to it that you feel on every single page. I think this is the most well-written book I have read this year. It is just so well-written. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. We are setting up. This book could go as high as my favorite book of the year, I'm going to be honest. And it could probably go as low as it's not going to get lower than a 4-star. I've enjoyed too many pages. But we'll see, though. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, you guys. I have come to end the video. I finished Marriage Portrait. With time to spare. This book was absolutely brilliant. I loved every single bit of it. I am going to just jump out on a ledge here and say this might be my favorite book of the year. You are going to see this book show back up at the end of the year in my best books of the year video, 100%. I loved everything about it. It had everything that I love. You guys know I love good characters. I love good tone, and I love good story. And when I say I love good story, I do not need stories to have all different types of elements and 50 things going on in this long journey. I usually don't like stories like that. I like stories that are simple but interesting, with strong characters and doing interesting stuff with dialogue that you're supposed to actually engage with. And that is what this book was the entire time through. This book was just if you read this book, if you do pick this book up, or if you've already read it, this is a Kenya book. This is just a Kenya book. This is a Kenya literary fiction book. Like, everything about this book is just so me. Quiet as It's Kept, I believe this book should have won the Women's Prize. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize last year, but I think it should have won, because this is my 3rd book I've read from the Women's Prize last year. I read Demon Copperhead and I read Fire Rush, and I like this book a lot better than those. But this author already won the Women's Prize a few years ago, so they probably was like, relax, you've had enough. But I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Brilliant. Excellent. I'm going to gush about this book at the end of the year. This is a book I will 100% return to. But you know who can kind of kiss my ass? The UK. So I like this cover better than I like the American cover. But I think I'm going to go ahead and buy the American version of this book, because this is a book that I want to return to. But I did not enjoy reading this book physically. You can just tell by, I'm going to just hold the book. Hold the book normally. But basically what I'm trying to show you is that my book is just open. I cracked the spine all over this book. The spine is completely cracked. I had to crack it every 10 pages. So now this is how my book look, because the UK, specifically when you get books from Waterstone, I don't know if this is all the UK, but when you get books from Waterstone, why do y'all bind the books so poorly? Why are the books binded so terribly? It doesn't matter if you get paperback. It does not matter if you get hardback. You are going to have to break the spine. So maybe it's a sign that like I need to stay in American business and stop trying to get like the covers I like from the UK. But I don't like the American. But I'm going to, when I go to the bookstore, pick up the American version of this so I can get a better copy of this. I love this book. Like we are talking, like I don't think you guys understand the magnitude of how much I love this book. We are talking about, this might move into like one of my favorite books of all time. Like I love this shit. Like start to finish, love this shit. I am so happy this was the book I decided to take on like in 2 days, because reading this book, I realized, oh, it is easy to read a book fast if the book is good. I've just been reading books that ain't all that good. Anyways, loved it. The next book we need to talk about, because this is the wrap up. I'm wrapping this video up right here. The Great Circle. We read The Great Circle, which was the first book we read in this video. This book is fine. Comparing this book to Marriage Portrait, Marriage Portrait just blows it out of the water. This book was fine. I don't know who I would recommend this book to. This book is written perfectly fine. It has a perfectly good plot. It has a good plot. The problem is, I just don't think the author stuck the landing on this one, and I think this book having dual POVs isn't necessary. One is just absolutely like horrible. You want to know what it reminded me of? Evelyn Hugo. It reminded me of Taylor Jenkins Reid's Evelyn Hugo, where to me, one storyline just was not that great. One storyline was just not that great. And then you had one that was really strong, and it just seemed, it's the reason why I don't love that book like everybody else does. I just feel like it's kind of lopsided. And then when you get to the end, the payoff for why you have both storylines isn't enough. And that's the exact same issue I have with this one. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and give this book 3 out of 5 stars, and it's perfectly fine. But, and by the way, this is how a book should be binded. This is how a long paperback should be binded. Ugh. I wish this felt like this. But lastly, a book that I thought was perfectly good is Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, by Cho Nam-jo. I enjoyed this book. I really, really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the message of this book. No, this book didn't blow my mind, but a lot of books like this never blow my mind. But I did enjoy how easy this book was to read in the brevity, and I found this book to be quite clever. This was a clever book. But anyways, that is the end of this video. Thank you for spending the last week and a half with me. I will see you guys next week for another reading vlog, and